Good morning, folks. Some people complaining that where's your lady friend? We haven't seen her for a long time. We need to see, she's speaking good English. Yes, of course she does. She does. And actually, she wanted to talk about Trump's new proposal, I suppose, that people won't get automatically citizenship in U.S. If they are born here. What was that?
Well, in the U.S., which many people know, we have birthright citizenship. So if you are born here, you're automatically a U.S. citizen, and you get all of the rights and privileges that go with that. Now, he is alleging that he can basically, with one stroke of the pen, do away with a constitutional right. Mm-hmm. He can't do that.
Oh, okay. I think that's a very interesting and a very important topic, and it will 20,000 Chinese women come here every year. Okay, and but I think something else is far more important than this. Is that last night I watched a video. I suppose this is from a Chinese kind of official site, or Chinese hired someone make this video. They're talking about if the midterm election Trump wins, then he will stay in office for another 2 years. I started to laugh. My God, they have no clue about the American political system at all.
They have no clue about what midterm means. I don't mean having to know the political system, but just midterm. A term for a president is 4 years. Midterm is halfway through. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, why midterm election is so important to Chinese government at this time? Never been like this before. And Chinese government is actually our Communist Party. Our Communist Party.
Isn't it the only party?
Okay, their party, the China Party, is supposed to have a fourth midterm meeting. Midterm meeting, okay? So in this meeting, they will discuss the direction where China will go, open door policy and evolution, all those things, okay? But this year, they postponed. It's supposed to happen in October, but they want to wait until, I suppose, about the 10th, around the 10th of November, because they wanted to see the result of midterm election in U.S.
Who's this meeting between? Just curious.
Between Chinese Communist Party leaders and the leaders, because China has only one party, but in one party there are groups.
So this is within China's government only?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't think China is only one party. That is wrong. Okay, in China, we have one party in a name and inside the party. Before they had democracy, inside the party, people can vote. But now I don't know, because Xi Jinping, our great leader, Chairman Xi, I always say Chairman Mao because I was from that time, It's very awkward for me to say Chairman Xi, not used to. Okay, Chairman Xi changed the constitution to bring him to be the eternal chairman, forever chairman of China. In the constitution, so constitutional, he is the chairman in the constitution. Anyway, so I think this is why I want to bring Mercedes to here. Actually, I wanted to say it in Chinese, maybe afterwards a little bit. Why it's so important for the midterm election to Chinese government? Okay, but before that. Okay, before we even get into midterm election, we must have a 101, how the democratic system works in the West.
Democracy 101?
Democracy 101. Can you give us just a very brief introduction how the government works? Because in China, we have only one party. Okay, of course, inside the party, they have their thing going on. Whoever is the chairman, he is absolute power of the country. Okay, he says something, the army belongs to him. The military, there's no national military. It's only party's military. The military belongs to the Communist Party, and the law system, the court. So one in power, it's just an emperor. It's just emperor, monarchy. Okay.
So monarchy. And whatever he says goes. He does have absolute power.
Absolutely
so
power.
So he's a dictator. What he says goes. That means he dictates and people do it. Is that what it means?
Don't put me in that position.
Okay. I won't.
I love my motherland.
I know you do, but that doesn't mean you have to love him and what he's done.
He's my brother.
You don't have to love. Well, you have to love your brother, but you don't have to like him.
Okay. I don't have to like what he's doing.
Exactly.
I like him very much.
Exactly.
But what he's doing, I don't like as much as I like him.
That's yeah.
Better.
That's very fair.
So in America, okay, I know. When I started English, I did not actually start the system. I started the English, but in the English language, it says we have Parliament. Okay, we have the House of Nobles.
Oh, UK. See, you're saying when you studied English, so that sounds like the language.
Yes.
But you mean UK government?
Government, yes, and we have the House of Commons for the local people, or the nobles of the noble people. Then we have the court, right? So we have three big judge. Okay, we have three separate powers. Will they cooperate? They function with each other. So if the prime minister and have something to say, and he has to give his proposal, then the House of Nobles and House of Commons have to pass.
We call that checks and balances. Okay, and that doesn't mean checks like you write at a bank or your balance of your bank account. That means that there is someone to check what the others are doing and then to even it out so that it's not so lopsided. It's very important, and transparency is really important to make this effective and keep things fair and represent the people properly. So you're describing the British government, which is pretty much the same as the US.
Okay, now what is a House of Nobles in US?
That would be the Senate. Now the Senate.
No, the Senate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the people working there is called
senators.
Senators.
Yeah.
Okay, senators.
They represent each state.
So it's like they represent each province in China. Okay, Hunan province, Hubei province, Shanxi province, Hebei province, and or Shanghai or Shenzhen or Beijing. Each province or each district has a representative
in the federal government in Washington D.C. Okay, because then you also have government on a local level.
Yeah.
But
and we have in UK, not we. Okay, UK they have a House of Commons. What's that in US?
That would be the Congress. And those are broken down into smaller areas within the states, and those are based on population need.
Okay, the people working there, how do you call them?
Congressmen or congresswomen?
Congressmen
or congresswomen?
Congresswoman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you wouldn't call a woman a congressman. Right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Why don't you say a concrete human?
A congresshuman? Well, we can propose that. Put it to a vote.
Yeah. Okay. Then you have you had to have a court, has a big judge. What's that in US?
That is the Supreme Court, and that's the highest court. You have local, state, and then federal Supreme Court. So that would be, the big guy or girl.
Okay.
The judicial branch.
Okay. Then there's three organizations or three bodies. How do you call it? Three organizations.
Branch.
The three government bodies. Okay, to work together. Say that Trump want to build a wall between USA and China. Oh no, not China. Mexico. I mean,
I was like, do we have a border with China now? Whoa.
Okay.
We had a really big earthquake and then a tsunami, and it smashed us together.
Okay. With China, no, not China, with Mexico. And what does he do? If he's a president, he said, I want to make a wall. Then what he do? What did he do?
Oh, well, he can have a proposal drawn up to have a law passed, but he can't pass that law. That law has to go to the Senate and the Congress, and they have to approve it. But that's very difficult to do because the senators and the Congress people have to represent their constituents, which are people like me. So...
Oh, we have that in China. We call the people's representatives.
Well, that's what congressmen and senators are. Congressmen are more because they're on a local level.
But the thing is that in our country, in my country, my motherland, my motherland country, China, and the people's representative are chosen by the Communist Party.
Oh, but they're not chosen by the people. We choose.
I don't know.
We choose our people. Yeah. We choose our representatives.
Okay. So any law, anything the Communist Party want to pass, they always 100%. Or maybe 99%. Okay, and the one does not raise a hand will not have next time.
Ooh, he abstains, so he get wow.
Okay. So,
wow. Okay.
So, okay. So people think that democracy is something we have freedom of speech. We can talk, and we have freedom of speech, and we have the right to vote, but they don't know the details. Actually, in the democratic society, countries like U.S. Actually, you learn the system from UK.
Actually, I'm not up on the dates and everything, but I'm assuming that the UK actually took it from the US because the US got its independence from the UK in 1776, and that is when we declared our independence and that we were a democratic nation breaking away from monarchy, while England was still run by a monarchy, by a king. At that time, King George.
So you mean that UK stole those from you?
No, they learned.
Oh, they imported.
Well, because a large portion of the immigrants here, of the Americans in 1776, they had already been here for hundreds of years. It was a colony, several colonies of UK. And what happened was a lot of them were British. The ruling ones were British descent.
Okay. I just wonder if they had a intellectual property problem by that time.
No. The U.S. is more than happy to spread democracy. And actually, who did the U.S. get democracy from? Or a great deal of help from? Do you know?
I don't.
France. Our good friends. The
French Revolution.
And they aided. They are the ones who cut off towards the end of the Revolutionary War in America. I'm sorry, I do like history. Towards the end of the Revolutionary War in U.S. history, it was all just villagers and farmers with pitchforks. And the U.S. British troops, they were proper troops, and we can beat these colonists back. Well, what happened in the end, they kept doing it, but the colonists persisted because they knew what they wanted, and it was for themselves. It was for their future. So they kept persisting, and the French backed them up. And when they finally drove the British back to the sea, to their ships, the French were waiting on the other side in their ships, and boom, took them out. So The French have been our friends for a long time.
We're not talking about
Sorry.
French Revolution at this moment, okay?
No, but I'm saying just the history.
Yes,
just the history.
Okay. Now, we give you a brief idea how the political system works here in the US. Of course, the press is free. The press is never controlled or governed by anyone. They have their freedom to say anything, to make any videos. You know, it's their freedom, and pick on any president, you know.
And unfortunately, it doesn't even have to be true.
The press can lie too. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then they just say, oh, it was a mistake. Don't sue me for defamation of character. Okay, never mind.
So the midterm election is fighting for which side? U.S. we have Republicans, and we have
right now we have a Republican Senate and Congress, and Trump is a Republican.
yes.
So a majority. It doesn't mean all of them, because it's all mixed up between Democrats and Republicans. But what happens is that that's the election going on, not Trump. Trump is elected for another 2 years, solid, rock solid, unless he's impeached or something, you know. But anyway, and so there is a great deal of fear among Trump's people and the Republican Party that it's going to become a majority Democrat
Yes.
with this midterm election. And that means what? Do you know? What does that mean?
Yeah, it means that Trump will be difficult to pass his proposals.
Yes, because the two parties have distinct beliefs, and because they represent different aspects of society, different like the liberals and the conservatives.
Okay, I just give you a general idea how midterm election works in history. First of all, midterm election is the chance for the people to grade the president. Grade the president. So, oh, you have done 2 years. We give you a mark. Oh, you are 6 out of 10 or 5 out of 10, or you are doing great. You are 8 out of 10, right?
Why do you say that? In what way? Do you mean because they're electing, like if they go with Democrats and they make it a majority Democrats in the Senate and the Congress, he's going to have a hard time. But if they make it Republican, then they're going to say, we like your ideas. That means we want it to be easy for you to get your ideas through.
Yes. They can do that by...
Because they're not actually grading him. Like, I just don't want people to be confused and think that there's some kind of, like, survey.
Yeah. Okay. This is a chance for people to tell their opinion, what they think about a president by voting with their vote to oppose him or with him. Okay. Then the thing is that the normal happening in history is always the opposite party wins. For example, if Trump is a Republican, right? Normally Democrat will win. Why? Because the people want a balance.
Well, see, with Obama, he had a difficult time because that's exactly how it was. He was a Democrat, and we had a majority of Republicans. So he had a really difficult time getting anything passed, any kind of legislation.
If I'm not mistaken, in the whole history, it's happened only a couple of times that the president party win the midterm election again. But this time, they look at the Democrat is very strong, and they call it blue wave.
Yeah, because the Democrats' color is traditionally blue, and the Republicans' color is red.
Yes. And then Obama, as well as Hillary Clinton, they are very active now. They want...
And they're Democrats.
Yes, they are. They want to get back. So the China think if Democrat get back on the power, they win the majority, so it will be difficult for Trump to push his policy against China.
And the thing is, it becomes like a stalemate. Like there's no give, they just meet there and then keep pushing back and forth, and then nothing gets passed. And I think like you were saying, there are only a few times where the president and the Congress and Senate were in the same party. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was during wartime.
Yes, and then because people here that they hate a dictatorship. They don't want one man have too much power.
Well, we question and we want them to answer us.
Yes.
You have to answer to us.
Okay.
You're held responsible.
Yeah. So now we come back to a few things now. Okay. First of all, the Democrat might win this time, but there are two issues very strongly help Trump very much. First was the judge, the big judge thing. What do you call it? The
Supreme Court?
Supreme Court, yes. So when Trump, suggested this judge, Democrat did very, very much. Did a little bit too much. I think people feel, oh, you are doing something, you are only doing this for your purpose. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is the crisis of the immigrants.
Immigrants, the caravan.
The caravan.
From South America, from
Honduras.
Yeah, it's actually from Central America, mostly.
Yeah, there is a caravan about like 7,000 people or 10,000 people marching to US, and this is a crisis. And then they probably people think we need a very strong president. So that is the possibility to support Trump. Okay. So, but we don't know the result yet. We wait for another week, 1 week from today, and another week, the result will come. However, the policy towards China, Democrats and Republicans, they stood the same position.
They're on the same page.
At this point, okay, midterm election, no matter who wins, the policy towards China will not change that much.
The main issue here with between the Democrats and the Republicans is immigration, but immigration towards a specific group, illegal immigrants. Okay, illegal immigrants that are already here. Even that birthright thing is not specifically aimed at Chinese. It's specifically aimed at illegal immigrants who give birth here. Okay, so actually the South American and Mexican immigrants, that is where they are divided. On Chinese policy, they're pretty much agreeing.
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans agree that there's a problem.
Yes. So people think, oh, maybe midterm result, if Democrats win, maybe Trump has to go and China will have a chance. No chance. Not at all. Okay, then if you want to wait for that, of course you can wait, but it won't make much difference.
America is at an agreement and a consensus on China. Everybody agrees. I would really say okay, maybe not everybody, but an overwhelming majority across party lines agree that action needs to be taken. And I think there's no question there that more action will be taken.
Yes, actually, it's my lady who would like to know a little bit about what's happening in China and why Xi Jinping was loved and hated and loved, hated, and so much, and up to now, what's going on? But I really don't want to get too much political, I want to talk about culture more. But if she insists, we can make a video, talk just a little bit of what I know, because I know very little. But I know the basic. I know that Mao Zedong, what he wanted, and I know what Jiang Zemin wanted, and I know what Deng Xiaoping wanted. And I also know what Xi Jinping wanted. And Xi Jinping wanted was not Deng Xiaoping wanted. Okay? So that created a problem with Xi Jinping at this moment. We really expecting about within 1 month's time we know the result.
Just a real quick question. Just back on, you were saying, okay, where Xi Jinping has now changed the constitution of China and made himself kind of like emperor for life.
Not emperor, chairman.
Chairman for life. Sorry.
Because she want.
What was it before?
Because he want to devote all his life for the people.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Propaganda, lovely. But what was it before? What was the term before? Stop.
Okay.
Please tell me how long.
Before was that the Deng Xiaoping and all this Chinese Communist Party member agreed everyone should have just a term.
Like for how long? What's the
For
term?
8 years, I think.
8 years. Okay.
And after 8 years, you must go and change another one. This is Deng Xiaoping was trying to stop dictatorship.
That's a very good, noble thing.
Because Deng Xiaoping thought maybe 4 years it was too short, Then 8 years is more stable. But 8 years, if someone work for 8 years as a president, you'll be very, very tired. You should go home and with your family and fishing and golf.
What is it, UK? 5 years, I think, huh? For the prime minister?
Most countries like 4 years.
4 or 5 years, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my marriage is mostly 4 years. Every term 4 years. Really very, very strange.
We've been together. Not marriage, but
I feel like we just get started from yesterday. So you have another 4 years. Don't worry, okay? We can always extend. Okay, new contract, new country. You can
should we
sign
vote?
it.
We'll vote on it.
No, this is too private. Okay, that's all for today's video. We talked about the importance of mid-range missiles. No, mid-term elections.
That was like a while ago.
Yeah, midterm elections and why so important, and what is normally happen in US, and because we need to talk about that, we need to explain the system, how the US system works. Okay.
Just a basic overview.
Yeah, very.
You don't need all the details because
no, very basic.
It's you can take a US government class.
And also this is a message to the people in China. For my folks, of course, to people in my brother Xi Jinping's cabinet too, and don't expect too much. No matter what outcome is going to be, it won't affect much about U.S. policy towards China.
No, because when they talk about the immigration policy, it has nothing to do with Chinese immigrants. Absolutely nothing. It's solely aimed at South American and Mexican and Central American immigrants, illegal immigrants, people who like sneak across or stay here after their visas expired and work and stuff when they're not supposed to. Illegal. Yeah. It has nothing to do with businessmen who come or people who come with their kids legally on visas for education and stuff. Has nothing to do with that. Yeah.
So this is why I just, of course, I know that my saying means nothing, and just say if someone knows someone and knows someone and knows someone, and tell them don't even think, just get prepared and think how to deal with this problem with US in a fundamental way, okay, and solve this problem as soon as possible. War in any form is not good for any sides. Okay.
I'm sure one of our viewers will be able to get to someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, because have you ever heard of the theory of 6 degrees of separation? Everybody knows everybody in the world within 6 people deep.
Oh.
Isn't it very interesting?
Everybody loves somebody.
It's very interesting.
Sometime.
Okay, just a different topic, but it came to mind.
Everybody fall in love somehow.
No.
Actually, I would like to talk a little bit. Actually, it's my lady. She would like to know a little bit. Actually, it is my lady. Actually, it is my lady who would like to know a lot